Hey, what's going on, Amazon sellers? And this video is going to go over the 7 most common reasons that Amazon businesses fail, according to our survey across thousands of sellers on our mailing list. We are right before the Black Friday as I'm shooting this video, and hopefully the Black Friday and Cyber Monday and the fourth quarter are going to be prosperous for all of our sellers on our platform. We know that Amazon is a tough game. It's a game of margins. And what really prompted me to say, let's go out and reach out to our sellers and find out why some businesses fail. It was because on our platform, what we noticed was the most common reason for canceling on our platform was not because of the product. We got a lot of good feedback on the product. And of course, not everyone is always happy, but we have a very high satisfaction rate on our platform. But what we noticed was that a lot of sellers were simply saying, hey, the platform was great, but we're going out of business. So we wanted to do a little bit of digging to find out why this is and to share that feedback with you. So these are our top 7 results from that survey. Our survey allowed sellers to answer the questions that we had preceded based upon our cancellation reasons or feedback from sellers in our platform. And so we seeded those, but we allowed sellers also to add their own reasons to that. And you could select multiples. So the percentages aren't going to add up to an exact 100% because sellers could check off multiple reasons. So the number one reason of 55.9% on the platform is going to come to no surprise to people who sell on Amazon, and that is competition. Competition was the number one reason that sellers had a product fail or a business fail on Amazon. So, one of the things that I like to look at in my business life is I love this guy, Michael Porter. He's an old Harvard Business School, basically a legend in the business strategy field. So if you want to learn about competition and kind of the levers that you can pull with competition, I highly recommend looking at Michael Porter's books. I know that a lot of people here on our mailing list and that use my Seller Pal are successful business people in their own careers and maybe doing a little bit of the Amazon stuff on the side. And there's a lot of sellers that are on our platform that are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and they're really good business people. So what I've learned is that the Amazon sellers that are on our platform can dig deep into this really high value content from really thought leaders in the business industry. So I suggest that you look at it for a guy, Michael Porter. He's got this great framework called the 5 Forces. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can look into it. And if you're like me, like a total business nerd into business models and everything like that, I think that you'll really find that content really enlightening, and it'll give you a different way to look about competition in general. So highly suggest looking into Michael Porter's work. Let's see here, and I have the list in front of me here. So the number two reason that sellers said that they failed was that they had PPC campaign mismanagement. Okay, so Amazon advertising is critically important, and there's a few different strategies here that I want to share. So I'm a huge fan of just incremental improvements, and one of the things that you can do on our platform is monitor what we call PPC waste, which is simply just a really simple way to make a quick incremental improvement, and that is that you can look at your PPC spend that you're spending on and look for queries that are not making you any money and just create negative keywords for them where it makes sense. You have to use common sense, but it's just like a quick win. It's, sellers come into our platform and they see hundreds or thousands of dollars being spent on queries that just don't make any sense, and that's just a really quick win. Now, some of the other things that you can look at within your PPC campaigns is looking at the balance between your PPC spend and your sales and your organic sales tied together. Now, this is kind of an advanced strategy that I learned by hanging out on the FBA group on Reddit. One of the sellers there shared a spreadsheet that they used to use with their virtual assistants, and they would look at not just their PPC spend together, or alone as the average cost to sell. They would look at their total sales together and then look at the net on that. So that's one of the things to consider, is because on Amazon, as we all know, or you should know, is that more sales get more sales. So on our platform, we have all these graphs that show you kind of like correlation between your PPC sales and your organic sales. So really you want to think holistically about your business when it comes to PPC campaign management, and really, use the principle of getting that low-hanging fruit and just iterating. Because one of the things that I love personally in my life is looking at small incremental improvements and on how those add up. So if you add a 20% lift on your PPC, ACOS, and you're making more sales, you're trimming that a little bit, each little margin that you do on top of that is going to be incremental, and the most important thing is compounding. So PPC campaign mismanagement was the second most reason at 29%. There's another one here at 29%, which was insufficient capital cash flow. So really, one of the things that I look at on our platform is there's a lot of sellers that are coming in and selling one or two products. Please, if you don't have the money to lose on the Amazon game, it is probably not a game to get into. Honestly, it's probably one of these things where you have a good living already, and then you can get into it as a side business with money that you potentially could lose. A lot of people probably won't tell you that. I can see from our platform, sellers that go out of business, a lot that also make it and make, their car payments or maybe make a mortgage payment for the month off of that thing. But cash flow is critically important to running your business. So you probably don't hear it much from people, but if you don't have the money just to squander more or less at potentially an opportunity, Amazon is no guaranteed business, and cash flow is huge. And then obviously cash flow becomes even more important as you scale as well. So on the flip side, like, you can be in that kind of like middle territory where you're doing well, but if you really have high demand, you're pushing for sales, cash flow is going to become critically important. And I don't have all of the answers for that. There's financing and everything like that. That's out of the scope of this video, but that's another place where cash flow becomes critical. So let's see here. The fourth reason is no external marketing in place. This is really interesting that this came back as 26% on our survey. It's kind of an eye opener for me, because we have external landing pages, and maybe that's why our metric is so high. Because we offer a platform for sellers to advertise more off of Amazon, and that potentially is going to become more and more critical as time moves forward. One of the interesting things that we're trying to dip our toes into a little bit more is that Amazon has now released their form of retargeting, which is to retarget people who have visited your pages. That's probably something very interesting to look into from a marketing perspective. But it was pretty interesting to tell that sellers identified with no external marketing as being a reason that their product may have failed. Pretty interesting tell for us. Let's see here. The fifth reason was they failed to conduct thorough product research. So there's a whole market in place for doing market research. We have all heard of all the big players in the tool space for doing research. They generally get it right for the metrics. The data is sometimes a little questionable on the tools, but I think that they do a pretty good job on figuring out demand. Demand is critical. Competition, as we talked about before, kind of growth rates in a particular market, those kind of things. So, you have to always find this really sweet spot on potentially white space, which is where there's opportunity and there's not enough products in a particular space, or there's limited demand and there's not enough suppliers in a particular space, and there's opportunity. There's books and books and books written on this topic, and there's tons of tools out there for that. We don't offer those tools. We've been asked for quite a bit. It's something that I think is already pretty well served by other tools out there. So that's something that we stay away from, especially because a lot of those tools require screen scraping and kind of like black hat tactics as far as Amazon's terms of service. So we stay out of that space, because anyone who's on our platform, we try to remain compliant with Amazon's terms of service. So, we are in the Amazon Seller App Store, and that whole space on doing competition analysis, potential sales, and so forth. That's an area that is well served, but it's not for us. But it's obviously critically important for you for deciding on what products you're going to sell on Amazon. Reason number 6 is insufficient knowledge. That is something that we're all learning every day. I think that part of this, if you look back on a failed product, if you can look back and make a learning experience of it, there's never, I'm a big fan of there's you either win or you learn. That's a John Maxwell statement. Actually, he has a children's book named that too that I just ordered and read to my kids. Pretty cool book if you're into putting together a powerful mindset for your kids. But hopefully we're all learning every day and looking at opportunities to improve ourselves. And hopefully this video is going to share some knowledge from other sellers. Let's see here, the seventh reason here. This is really interesting and not something that I would have suspected. At 17.6% is Amazon suspension. So didn't mean it to lead into it like that, but you need to be aware of Amazon's terms of service. That's why we give up opportunities all the time on how to improve our platform, which would be kind of bend the rules on some things. So Amazon is unforgiving. It's a privilege to sell on Amazon, and be very aware of potential account suspension issues. So that's our top 7 from our survey results. Some of the other ones we had were unoptimized listings, listing hijackers. They're all like 11% or below on them, and a whole myriad of issues. So if this video was useful for you, leave a comment on whatever channel you see this on, and maybe on YouTube, Facebook, and I'll share this around. And I'll include a link to our platform, My Seller Pal. Come in, try a free trial, totally risk-free. Our big value proposition to the Amazon seller world is that we have the lowest price for a comprehensive set of tools to run your Amazon business. It has email autoresponders, external landing page, marketing for Facebook, all that good stuff. We have a brand website. If you have a private label brand, it gives you just kind of this vanilla website that links through to Amazon. It's not as fancy as Shopify, but it's a good placeholder if you're just selling on Amazon. We have PPC management, some tools there, and some trending data, so you can kind of look at your most recent sales, how your products are trending, all the keywords that people are looking for, and so forth, and our PPC waste optimization features. So anyway, I'll include a link for that. Leave a comment on any issues that you also had with your own business for the community to learn. And I'm off to Thanksgiving night to be with my family, and good luck with your Amazon business. Thanks so much.